Hi, I'm Mason Badaluca, and I'm here today to talk to you about the history of Fontana Dam and the Tail of the Dragon. The dam, the size of this dam is over 2,000 feet long and almost 500 feet high, which makes it the tallest dam in the eastern United States. The dam has a flood capacity of over 50,000 acre feet, and its three generators combined has almost 300 megawatts. Fontana Lake is the largest lake in western North Carolina and having over 200 miles of shoreline and over 10,000 acres of water surface and is surrounded by the Smoky Mountains and is what powers the dam. In 1910, a company called Alcoa, the Aluminum Company of America, had investigated the Little Tennessee Valley hoping that they would come across a source to get massive amounts of electricity to produce the aluminum for their operations in Alcoa, Tennessee. Alcoa later bought Tallahassee Power Company, or Topoko, which Topoko is now a resort, but they later had completed the Chiowa and Calderwood dams by 1930, as well as a dam on Chiowa River called Santitla Dam. Alcoa had evaluated and bought 15,000 acres on the Fontana site to start the Fontana project in the mid-1930s. The Tennessee Valley Authority, or TVA, had tried negotiating with Alcoa to take control of the construction in 1935. Alcoa wanted TVA to build the dam, but they weren't able to get the funding to start building the dam. But then the outbreak of World War II started in 1941, and the wartime initiatives had called for more aluminum to be produced to the war efforts. In mid-1941, TVA and Alcoa had signed the Fontana Agreement, which basically gave TVA possession of Fontana as well as the Tallahassee Power Company's Little Tennessee Valley dams, in return for Alcoa being the primary benefactor of the dam's electric for the next 20 years. They began the construction of Fontana Dam in 1942 when Congress had authorized all the fundings to Fontana Dam in December of 1941, and it had required them having them buy almost 70,000 more acres of land to build the dam. Over 5,000 acres of land had to be forested and cleared out. Towns of Fontana, Bushnell, Forney, and Judson were completely flooded. Over 1,000 families, 1,000 graves, and over 60 miles of roads all had to be relocated. Welch's Cove, which is now named as Fontana Village, was constructed near the dam and housed all of the workers who were helping to build the dam. There were over 5,000 workers living there by 1943, so this place had later became a summer resort for tourists and bikers who drive the Dragon. The TVA was afraid of the design for the dam because of the concrete required to make the dam would just be so massive that it would trap heat during the setting, and it would also cause cracks to form in the dam and maybe even losing the dam. To fix this problem, they had divided the dam into different joints and put in pipes and cooling coils. But this later caused another problem because the water's 400-foot drop would cause erosion into the dam's foundation because of the dam spillway. So the Tennessee Valley Authority chief architect Roland Wank had designed another spillway that drains all of the water out through two 30-foot in diameter pipes that reaches at the bottom of the dam, which they release these every twice a year. So the dam was finally completed in 1944 and had costed over $70 million. They had placed two more generators in early 1945 to provide more energy to make more aluminum near the end of World War II. After everything, over 40,000 acres of land north was turned into the Great Smoky Mountains, and the south part was U.S. Forest Service. So the Dragon, which was basically one of the most famous roads for all sports cars and motorcyclists. This road is on the Highway 129 on the border of Tennessee and North Carolina, which is 11 miles long and has over 300 curves in it. The Dragon has had a famous past. Much of the road was just worn down by large herds of buffaloes and became an animal track used by the Cherokee Indians. In the 1700s, the first white man to walk the animal tracks were hunters and trappers, which they were moving on very dangerous territory. Somewhere down the line was a small store that was right near the North Carolina and Tennessee state line that the Deals family had owned and operated, which is what the map designation of Deals Gap came from, which is a very famous motorcycle place that every biker goes to. There was a lot of conflict between the white settlers and the Cherokee Indians because the white was crossing into Indian territory, which ended up resulting in the relocation of the Cherokee to the Oklahoma, which is also known as the Trail of Tears. But some of the Native Americans refused to leave their land, so they used the dragon to evade the army. So yeah, this road has a lot more history built on it, but these were just the major ones to cover, and which is what became to create this famous road for these bikers and sports car owners. Like even in many movies, um, even many movies have been filmed on this road, such as like The Fugitive and like Thunder Road. So yeah, this has been my Pecha Kucha on the history of the dam and the tail of the dragon.